mayonnaise, peanut butter and jelly. This thing's the shit. And just like playing the fucking,
Okay.
like Toki Daniel does.
Yeah, no, I did not see that.
Yeah, we'll play it on the. There you go. You just shrink it down a little bit there.
Yeah. Push us down a little bit.
What kind of spyware is Microsoft laying on our computers as we speak here? Microsoft Teams. I never had that shit.
Sure you did.
Oh.
Shit downloads all the time on it just comes off the internet out of nowhere.
That's if you're trying to punch the monkey. I don't do that stuff.
I don't do that.
Click in.
Punch the monkey.
I don't have time to play video games or no shit like that.
And it's very similar to your M, but it doesn't cross down at the bottom there. But it's that M. It's just a big bold M, and underneath it says Marmon. Out of Texas, they're like the truck is like $500,000 to build. It's crazy the shit that's in there.
Are we live? You probably heard all that.
The green and do all that. Yeah,
The Marmon's probably live and living color. We just gave them a shout out in Texas.
There you go. Shout out to Marmon in Texas. Actually, there's a 60 Minutes episode on it. And so, yeah, we're good.
Gotcha. Give him a few minutes to come on down.
Well, there we go. We should be up and going. Larry Reed, the man all weed, and here we are on the August 7th edition of The Grinder. And we're here with Miss Carrie Cronick. Miss Carrie Cronick, how are you this evening?
I'm great.
You're great on this Wednesday, the proverbial start of our week.
It is our
the
Monday.
Hump day.
Hoop,
We're
hoop.
at the top of the roller coaster.
Of this thing we called life.
There you go. And
Living our best life. That's what we're doing.
yes, and our wonderful guest tonight is Mr. Chili Mack himself. Yeah. That you can always see him on the morning 1-2 barbecue.
1-2 barbecue.
There you
That's
go.
true.
Welcome.
No,
Go give us the real roll.
What it do, barbecue?
Oh yeah, what it do?
Yes.
Barbecue.
That's right.
And so so tell us a little bit about you, Chili Mack. Like if they don't know you from seeing the beginnings of the Facebook, or tell us a little bit more about you, what you do here.
Let's see. By trade, I'm a pastry chef, so that's kind of where a lot of these delightful delectables come from that we create. But I'm also a grower. I'm a breeder, an entrepreneur, father. All of those wonderful things.
Okay.
That you cover the whole gambit there. That's pretty much the.
Yeah, I mean, I figure like when if you're kind of like knee deep in two different industries at the same time, and you juggle a family, you kind of cover the whole gamut.
Exactly.
That is just being a dad, actually being a mom. Shout out to moms out there,
Yes.
like they.
Hi, Mom.
Yes, thanks, Mom.
And is it Miss Mary? Is there Mary?
Mary Mack.
Uh-huh.
So Mary Mack is an influencer page.
Oh, okay.
It's created by one of our bud tenders.
Oh, okay.
And, she manages our social media accounts and stuff.
Okay,
So
I just
there is
figured
no
she
Mary
was.
Mack.
I thought she was the Mrs. Mack, so that's why I was
No,
asking.
no,
I wasn't
not
sure.
me.
Okay, cool. That's good to clear that up because I just thought I automatically assumed that was the Mrs.
There's Mr. Max.
Mr. Max.
That's it.
There we go.
Really? The whole time I'm thinking is the.
He's like, nope.
Yeah. Now people don't read the description. Like, it says hype girl at Mr. Max. And,
I sure didn't. I just said, oh, it must be the Mrs. Mack right
yeah,
there.
she does, a lot of our graphics, design work, flyers, things of that nature.
That's cool.
The brand looks absolutely fantastic there.
Thank you.
So whoever you have doing the artwork and all that, Miss Mary Mack is definitely taking care of it. And it's great because you influenced me to I'm believing that person's actually alive.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it's social media is really all about perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the way that they've been locking down, the Facebook pages and things like that is kind of difficult to maneuver around some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And the gray areas have been through influencers. So utilizing, different influencers or having an in-house influencer that can, get the messages out there, the deals, the pictures, whatever it may be, and not trigger, the Facebook cops to shut you down. Like, that's like walking on a tightrope. So.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it come
And
down
so-
yet, you guys.
Yeah,
Just
no,
so-
we're definitely live on
Okay.
there.
just making sure.
And so where do we find you on Facebook? Let's go to your Facebook page.
Okay, so all of our social media handles are at only Mr. Max, and you type that in, it'll pop up Mr. Max. You'll see the M, and there you go. Same thing with Instagram and Twitter and all of that. Everything is only Mr. Max. Our website is onlymrmax.com.
Let's go there. And so, what made you get into the space? You always been a weeder, or?
Well, if Mom's watching, Kat's been out the bag for a long time. So cannabis is one of these things that I was introduced to it extremely young. I tell people I smoked my first joint with my dad, but it was how all of that took place. He really didn't consent to it. Him and my uncle, I'm 11 years old. I'm standing behind him on the couch, and him and my uncle, they're smoking his joint, and I'm behind my dad, and I'm acting like I'm hitting the joint, and I'm coughing like he would cough, and my uncle was laughing, and he turned and he sees me imitating him. And so he reaches out with the joint, and with my quick hands, I snatched it and I hit it real quick, and then I threw it down. So that was my first cannabis experience.
And what's your dad do?
He looked at me like,
boy.
"What the hell?" And then he laughed, and him and my uncle laughed, and but from there it was just kind of
Like, it's over, Dad. You might as well pass it on over here.
Yeah. But as a grower, it's just one of those things that some people, they have a interest or a passion in seeing things come from infancy all the way through that in fruition, whatever that may be. And I don't know, I like plants. I like herbs. I'm a pastry chef, so I cook with a lot of different things. And but it was that love affair with cannabis, and then cooking with it, and wanting to be creative, and just try new and different things, and ultimately that led to breeding, and from breeding that led into.
Is there a Mr. Mack strain, or you got a Chili Mack?
So we don't technically have a Mr. Mack strain. We have Blues Clues, which is our flagship strain. We're actually going to be launching our carts, our syringes, our tinctures. All of that's going to be launching in about 2.5 weeks. But we have Blues Clues, which is a cross between Blueberry, Northern Lights, and Larry OG.
The Larry OG right there. That's what it's all about.
That's
right
that
there.
zinger,
Right.
So, gotta have good old Lemon Larry in there. With that blueberry, it balances it out really, really well.
That is an interesting
And,
kind of little heaven and hell there. That
Yep,
kind of
yep.
gets you on both sides of the fence.
Then we have like Peachy Mac and Tangier Chili and Double Tab G1000, Effin' Loser.
Effing loser.
Yeah. that strain. Okay, so
I might need to give that to a few folks.
yeah, and that's why I named it that. I was on my petty horse at that time.
Yeah.
But shout out to Lou Era. Thank you so much. Without the pettiness from that end, like this wouldn't even exist. So, like, I'm actually happy all of that happened. So.
Right. Right, because out of adversity comes greatness, right?
Right.
That's the way they say it there, and that's pretty awesome. You come on with the. Have you always been a positive person, or how does that all roll out?
So, you know, as a youth, I experienced a really traumatic event. Saw my brother killed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And for a long time, it kind of put me like in this shell, and I wasn't really myself. And so I became bitter. I became evil. Just not a pleasant person to be around. And then, you know, I mean, after, you know, maybe a good 10 years or some maybe a little bit longer, I started to come out of it. And then I had a sister that was murdered in a domestic violence situation. Boyfriend shot her in the head while she slept. You know,
Oh my
just
God.
craziness. And, you know, I just reached a breaking point, and I felt like I had been, you know, so bitter for so long, so angry, just not who I really am, you know, as a person. And I just felt like it was just time to get back to me, who I was. And so ultimately, yes, I am a nice, friendly, positive person. I'm very sarcastic, but it just comes with the territory sometimes.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're definitely your morning talks are quite fun sometimes to listen to, and they're very informative. So,
Yeah.
you know, I know a lot of people like watching it. So,
I didn't want to do these things. So I'm anti-social media, believe it or not.
really,
I felt like that social media was like the death of traditional family values. It's like, so I remember when I was a kid, we didn't have the cell phones and stuff like that. So, you know, we had to have conversation around the dinner table, and we sat down and we talked about homework and stuff like that. And I look at my kids, and they're texting each other, and they're in the same room, sitting next to each other on the same couch.
guilty.
And, yeah, you know, and so
Mom and kid.
I was never really a big social media fan, but my brand manager is like, look, this is where we're at,
This is where you need
and
to
this
be.
is what you need in order to get where you want to be. So this is what we have to do. And so, you know, we created the pages, and, you know, she's like, okay, well, now you have to create a voice. And from radio, you know, I've always had, you know, a semi-decent voice. And I just said, okay. So, you know, we started playing around with a segment called Cannabis Q&A, where we would bring people into our studio and, you know, just talk about cannabis, let them ask questions that they always wanted to have answered, or we would do, you know, different like cooking classes, and, you know, so I mean, it was very interactive. And then that kind of, well, the team that I was with, we lost some members, and, you know, it became difficult to handle all the operations and then do, you know, productions as well. So it just kind of got put to the side. And then one day, you know, people were like, man, you know, what happened to this? I really like this, and this is why. And it was just more and more people would be like, you know, you really should do this, because I don't know if it does anything for you, but it really, you know, gives me a boost. It helps me get through my day, and you know, so I started doing them, and, you know, people kind of like it. So.
And there you go.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's
Motivational.
Yeah, and not only that, it's just an interlude in the morning. Listen to, whether you listen to the whole thing or whether you listen to just a little bit of it or something. You know, grab if you need it, use it, indeed it. If not, pass it on. I think that's a Grateful Dead tune, and so that's the way I use it. I just like, you know, some days there's stuff that makes me want to jump up and yell and text something also
Right.
to add in, to just let it out a little bit and to think about it, and they're usually good solid topics that are pertinent to our lives. It's stuff that's going on out there.
Now, I know you said you had lived in Vegas for a while. Prior to you know, working radio and whatnot, have you had businesses before?
Yes. So we've had home care services. marketing agencies, outside of cannabis and radio. I've pretty much worked in entertainment, the majority of my life. So I did a lot of artist development for various record labels and independent firms and things like that. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so that's kind of, music and entertainment and,
We-
business, entertainment, marketing. That's always kind of like been my world.
Yeah, because I know a lot of the stuff that you talk about, it pertains to business, and that's one thing I noticed. Kind of when you're on these different groups, because there's a bazillion thousand, just tons
Not
and
anymore.
tons. That, well,
Not
yeah, they're
anymore.
getting deleted left and right, so there may not be as many anymore. But
Right.
everybody has an opinion. Everybody has different things that they talk about, and I think we've even talked about it before. As far as people get in the industry, not a lot of people come from business, and
Right.
so you had brought up a post, and Larry and I had even been talking about it quite a bit. Was when you hear the patient over profit, or
Yes.
profit over patient,
Oh, that
and we had just been talking about that before you made that post, and so I was glad to see that. If I would have said that, it would have been taken differently than when you said it, even though we're saying the exact same thing.
I don't know. There were quite a few people that were not happy with that post.
But I don't know any
But
501c3 dispensaries. I haven't seen
either.
any pop up yet.
I don't either. And it was a thing that I hear it so much, and as a patient and a business owner, I get to see both aspects. Both sides of this fight, and I really wanted to know from the patients, what does patients over profit mean to you? Because it's like, people can utilize that, and people can use that. It's almost like a campaign promise, or something that a politician's gonna run on, right? And then when you get in that office, and you have the opportunities to do these things, you don't do these things, and
Right.
it's business as usual. So I wanted to know from the people, like, are you really, really expecting extremely cheap products? Are you expecting a variety of products? And then I gave what my definition of patients over profit was. And, I feel I'm a business, okay?
Right.
And when I look at our brand, our ultimate goal is to be a national brand. We won't be a national brand by not making any profit.
Correct.
And what I need, and I'm trying to get people to understand, is that, regardless of the medicinal, benefits, cannabis is a commodity. And just like, oil, just like, bread, produce, anything, the prices on those things will go up and the prices on those things will go down. And regardless of how much they go up or how much they go down, we're still going to buy these basic items that we need in our everyday life. So if this is something that you have to have in your everyday life, you have to know what your budgeting is, what your spending habits are going to be. And majority of the patients wanted quality over quantity. That's one thing that I noticed. And two, they wanted a variety. My definition was providing a variety of medicinal products in various price ranges. I'm a realist, but I'm also a capitalist. And it's like, if I can provide you with that eighth for $33 with tax included, you're winning. Now, there are going to be people that may sell that same eighth for $60, right? I can't control what people do with their pricing or anything like that. So as a wholesaler, I sell a product, so cereal treats. We wholesale those for $10, right?
Is that what these are?
No, not that one. That's the new gargantuan right
Show me
there.
one.
That's
Well,
that 250 milligrams.
do you have one that's in the?
So this right here, right?
The $10
one.
right,
There you
okay.
go.
$10, right? But I found them in various dispensaries for as much as $50. Now, we're too new in the industry for businesses to be mandating people stay within certain price ranges, because what they're going to do is set those prices based off of their market, their demographic, and their customer spending habits. And the consumer doesn't understand that once I wholesale to someone, that exchange has taken place.
Right.
And we provide a MSRP, where that product should be priced.
Right.
But
But
at the
they
end
still
of the
have the
day, when
opportunity
you
to do
buy
whatever
it,
they want.
That's your property now, and people don't get that because the brand association is so tight that when they see the M, they automatically
Assume your
come
price.
back to me or go back to Eric and
Well, you're
assume
kind
that
yeah,
we're
you're the
saying that.
you're not the discount, but you're where you're going to get the best savings because you're the one that's manufacturing it. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like you see the Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and then you go in some of those same products are in some of the high end grocery stores,
Like shoe
And
stores.
yeah, shoe stores.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same product. I mean, being in this industry, especially, I've been looking at packaging and sacks and different things, and it's like one place is one and one thing is another. And the deal is, you just have to be an educated consumer and purchase what feels right to you because
Right.
there's, Lord knows, there's 2,000 plus options
Right,
to go get a product right now. So, but yeah, I mean, and I think that's the thing too is just and some people pay for convenience. You may be $10 at your store for that particular item, and then the one right next to their house might be 15, and it's worth them not to drive across town,
Right.
and they might be willing to pay that 15, or they'll say, hey, I'd rather just save that and go across town and do it. But that's called choices, and I think that's where I get a little frustrated. Not about the profit part, it's just that the patients I feel sometimes, for some reason, I mean. Like Larry made a comment to me when I was talking about the patient drives because I get frustrated sometimes on what the prices are, what the doctors make over what we make on even chronic dogs, and he's like, they went to college for a million years to get that, to get, they got their license, they pay all the insurance, they do all that stuff. And I'm like, you're right. Who am I to say what they should charge anything because I can't, I didn't put myself in that position.
Right.
So I can't dictate to them what it is I feel is right. Now the actual community kind of has when they change the law on that part of it, when they let in all the other doctors that weren't to certify or the certification that went out of national, but as a whole, but for some reason maybe it's because it's a plant and they feel like, we should just give it away for free, but we don't get to give it away for free because all these really nice packages, they cost money.
Right.
And to be a nice brand and not look like you did it out of your kitchen,
Right.
it does cost money. And then there are some dispensaries who the branding isn't as important to them, and they are more they're going to put more emphasis on the product, and so maybe their products are a little bit less sometimes too. But there is a good median, and it seems like you found both of those where you're able to have a good product, good branding, and still keep a good price point.
We like to try to get people to think about it like this. You have you got Whole Foods, Target, Walmart, Family Dollar, right? Whole Foods, Target, and Walmart will sell the same 20-ounce Coke, Pepsi, Sprite for, somewhere in between 25-cent and 35-cent difference, depending on, where you're at.
Right.
But when you go to Family Dollar, they're going to have a 16-ounce Coke, and it's going to be 25-cent less than what Walmart's going to have it at, or the next closest retailer. And people think that they're actually getting a savings because they saved that quote-unquote 25 cent, but you've lost a quarter of the product. And people aren't, equating these things and just like putting the information together because it's like, oh, well, it's a plan, and we fought for, medical marijuana and so on and so forth. And, I get these pills for free. And I tell people, you may have gotten those pills for free, but those pills were paid for at some point by someone. If it was through a medical grant, if it was through a subsidized government program, if it was through Medicaid, Medicare, somebody paid for that product. If they did not, that company would not be in business.
Right.
And so when people don't, when they want to haggle you on pricing, and it's like you're creating a prime environment for big corporations to come in, undercut the market with an inferior product. All the mom and pop shops go out of business, and that allows the corporations to now raise their prices because the demand is higher than the supply. People do not want to take supply and demand into consideration when they talk about things on
Right.
price.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's happening in Oregon right now as
Yeah.
we speak. Is they're being bought up by
Yep.
big corps, and Oregon just jumped in to stop that, saying you can only own 25. That was one of the news. So tell us a little bit about what we have here on this. This is 1,000 milligram tincture.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
So,
going to.
with our tinctures, we have 4 different tinctures currently. We have the raw distillate, the Candy Jack, Girl Scout cookie, and that one that you're holding is the Northern Lights. It's an MCT tincture with the Northern Light terps. We don't do, one thing about us, we don't do all the extra stuff. We're not, trying to have 25 different ingredients. We're not trying to make it taste like this or have it mimic that. We like to create simple products and utilize craft processes, and so everything we do is handmade. Everything we do is all natural. We don't use any preservatives. It's simply technique and storage. So while a lot of other people, they need refrigerations for, their tinctures, or their tinctures separate, the oil separates from the MCT oil, or, some people are doing, alcohol-based tinctures. It'll separate. We don't have those issues because we're, actually infusing versus just putting things together.
Now
There's no shake and bake with that.
What's the MCT mean?
So it's a multi-chain triglyceride.
Okay.
And the MCT oil can come from 2 different sources. It can come from the coconut, or it can come from the palm tree. Some places do a blend. We primarily stay with the coconut aspect of it. For people who have coconut allergies, because it's so refined, there may be mild irritation, but not, like you would, have a full-fledged allergic reaction to something.
So here they are in
Jack.
all the different ones, and these are
Yes.
so you've basically they're distillates with the terps reintroduced in, or is it
Yes.
actually from the Candy Jack and then you've reintroduced, you've distillated them and then
So
going
it's,
back and
it's taken down
reintroed.
to a distillate and then reintroduce them back into it. So we have the indica, the sativa, the hybrid, and then just your raw distillate.
And you all procure your own flowers through this, or are you from seed to table, or how does that?
So we do both.
Okay.
We grow our own material, and then we also outsource a lot of material. Because we go through so much distillate, we have to, have a steady supply. But the one good thing about distillate is, it doesn't, have all the impurities that a lot of other products have. So, I mean, it's, going to be the cleanest possible product to consume versus, flour that's been extracted directly into oil or into butter or whatever it may be. You're not getting any of that plant matter.
Right. And again, the packaging is just absolutely fantastic
Bam.
out there. Yeah, it is. It looks really great. And then the Girl Scout cookies, which is, one of the super flavors these days.
Yes.
It's everybody's going nuts over that. The GSC, the GG4, all those, which I think will enter into a little bit more of a craft market. There should be a lot of different flavors and things like that with
Yes.
as many growers as there are out there.
Yeah.
That
I mean, right now people are, they're chasing popularity. So, they're chasing, the GG4 and the cookies and, the forbidden fruits. And
What was that
purple
one that
punch and-
I liked?
the
That I did-
mimosa. Mimosa.
No, the one he
is
just said. I said I
strong.
need to give that to somebody. What was that strain?
forbidden fruit,
No, you something. I some have.
purple punch.
No. It was a smart ass one. You have a smart
Oh,
ass.
F and loser.
Yeah, the F and
Okay,
loser.
yeah.
They're not going after that one yet, but they should.
Yeah,
Ghost of Leroy.
The Ghost of Leroy. They got
We'll
that
be
one up
running
north
that
or down
until,
south.
around
The Ghost of
December
Leroy.
somewhere.
Have you heard of that one?
No, I have not.
Yeah, that's up towards
There's
Norman.
some really, super cool ones out there, and then there's some crazy ones that I'm
like,
just
where the hell that one come
"Whoa,
from?"
What?
And it's also nice that you put everything in opaque bottles, and that's not just because that you want it to look cool. It's
Correct.
It's required.
Yeah, well,
Not that it could be
not just
required.
it's required, but it helps to maintain the shelf life.
Okay.
And,
Right.
and prevent from any separation, any light that's gonna penetrate through. And I mean, even with the amber and the blue
Yeah.
bottles, there's certain light spectrums that will get through, and that just eliminates all of
Just
that. And
keeps it
the
longer,
product longer,
better.
fresher. And we also use a graduated dropper, so people will actually know what dosing is like versus having to go through the guessing game. A full dropper is going to be roughly 30 to 33 milligrams per dropper, and you can medicate accordingly.
That is excellent.
It's
Praise
all
to
about
you,
the
Chili Mac, and the
details,
whole
man.
Mr. Mack crew over there for
all about the
just
details.
spending the extra 3
you.
cents or whatever it was on there to
Exactly.
actually
Exactly.
to form following function, which is one of the real ways to win in the marketplace out here. And again, in the opaque bottles, is you're not going to waste your medicine. I'm a big believer in maximizing your medical dollars.
Yes.
And being able to preserve your stuff
Yes.
here, and like you said, there's not a whole lot of other pimp juice in there. I don't know how to say it. Like you're not.
People are chasing flavor.
The-
We're
right.
chasing, does it work?
relief, right?
Exactly.
That's
You know
the
what I mean? Like, I mean, I was, at first I was so nervous about everything. Like, even down to the caramel. I mean, a week before we launched, I was, unsure of which caramel consistency we were going to go with. Is it going to be softer? Should it be harder? More like a Werther's? And we landed in the middle. And it's just like, when you know,
yeah.
and certain things we knew were mandatory things, like, because yes, people have been consuming here in Oklahoma for a while, but at this level, in a medicated or medical industry, education is lacking.
Yeah.
So people aren't telling people how much to consume or what's in this dropper full. Like, the rules are the rules, and the laws are the laws. I mean, we have to have, how many ounces it is, how many grams it is, what batch did it come from. And it's like, we still have people that are just kind of getting by. You know what I mean? Just kind of fake it till you make it kind of a thing, and we just don't believe in that.
Right. No, full transparency is always the best way, and then that gives the consumer the most confident, and then they can go into the stores and ask for Mr. Mack by name in there. And if your wonderful dispensary isn't carrying Mr. Mack stuff, then either go to one place that is, or have them call Mr. Mack and say, "Hey,
I want
we
it
need
in
some
here."
of your
How can
stuff
we-
out here."
I tell people, hey, if you wanted it, we post something, you see it, you want it in a dispensary, tag that dispensary. We'll contact them. Shoot me a message directly. I do my best to address.
Best to address. There you go. Now, what else do we do?
Now
we
those are new
have
though,
the-
right? Those are fairly
The
new.
tinctures, I think we launched those in May.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I knew you had some new products you were bringing out.
Yeah,
So
so
some of them I haven't
we-
seen yet.
We some people aren't familiar with our well, I'll let you
There we go.
do the honors on that. So we did a collab with Mr. Max and our sister brand Pop Pops.
Pop Pops.
So we did a caramel Pop Pop. And
Oh snap!
yeah, so it's like we take our best-selling product on this side of the world, and we do the collab with the sister brand to not just
Infused lollipop.
attach the two entities, but to
Oh, look at
let
that.
people know that, hey, people can work together even if it's under the same house.
Nice.
Look at that. The presentation is just absolutely fantastic. Look at that finished product there.
Yes.
That is gorgeous.
You
Yeah.
handcrafted those circles.
Yeah, well, those
swirl.
are that's a mode.
I'm just
No,
messing.
they're in
You
there.
made it with
they're
love.
rolling those every
I know,
night.
they're rolling them.
We can't
Yeah,
keep
with
him
love.
too long. He's got to get back to the
He gotta
Wonka
get back to
factory
it.
and-
Yes, but those come in a 3-pack, 50 milligrams each. We also have the high dose where they're 100 milligrams each, and then our traditional Pop Pops are also 50 milligrams each, and then they come in assorted flavors: lime, pina colada, bubble gum, so on and so forth.
You could stick that in some coffee,
Yeah,
couldn't you?
so people do that.
I was gonna say that sounds like something
Let's
tasty for
try
coffee.
it.
The caramel, though, I have people that tell me they'll cut it in half. They'll put half in their coffee. They'll take the other half with them, and yeah. So
And it's not traditional like a caramel like soft lollipop.
correct. It's a little bit harder, almost like remember the old school sugar daddies?
Yeah.
The or the slow poke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's it.
the consistency
Okay.
that we went with there. So it's more like a retro style candy with a new age cannabis twist.
So it'll
Okay.
get a little bit flexible. If I was to carry my pocket for a little bit, it would go.
It'll get flexible, but it won't.
It won't
Not gonna
run,
melt all the
right,
way.
and all that. Won't be like a Charms pop where you're
No,
never going
not
to,
at
it's
all.
never
No.
getting.
There you can't just be
it's
shoving them in
never-
your back pocket and walking out now.
That's it. Well, that's pretty rad there.
Yeah.
And so they come in 3-packs and they're 150 milliliters in a milligrams.
Yep.
in a,
They come in a 3-pack or a single pack.
There you
So we just launched
there we go. There's a single.
some new. I wouldn't be a new product, but it's just a different quantity. So we're also doing our caramels in a single. We're doing gummies in a single. Gummies we've also launched our microdose gummies. So there's 5 milligram gummies in
Those
a
are
10
for me.
pack. Those come in a 10-pack, and then we have
That lasts me a
Do you have
while.
one of those?
high dose.
What do you have here?
I'm the low
This is
doser.
our 50 milligram gummies in a 10-pack, so that's 500 total milligrams. So we're doing a microdose, our regular, and then the high dose.
Well, I like the single pop because, like you said, you've got it for all different price ranges. And with that single pop there, it looked like you could suck on that for a little bit and then put it up for a little bit and
Yes.
kind of come back to it a couple different times.
Definitely.
And so these are 50 milligram
Yes, sir.
stars a piece.
I'm just eating one piece of the star then.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing the Star Spangled Banner on that.
I was like, I get one corner of the star.
Oh,
Thank
my
you.
God. So our Mary Mack, who's our graphic designer, her name is actually Hala Perone. And she created our ounce magazine ad that we had that was the Oh My Stars.
Oh, okay.
And that came from a cool story where her and some friends were medicating, and the person underestimated it, and all they kept yelling was, "Oh my stars, those stars!" And so that gave her like the creative juice for that ad. But it was pretty dope.
Because the edibles are a whole different story kind of thing. Like they'll
Yes.
change your life if you're not real careful with what you're doing out there.
Yes.
Like
That's that one.
the
This
and now here's your caramels.
Yeah, that's the baby. Right
That's it?
there.
That's the
That's
hitter.
the bread and
That's
butter
good.
right there.
Now the you might have made these at a point in time where they might not have actually been legit. Is this an old school recipe that they kind of come out? Was this your
So-
steez back in the day?
Everything with the exception of the Cocoa Puff treat has been like old school.
Yeah.
You know, we call it. I'm not gonna say underground, but like the cheesecakes and pineapple upside down cupcakes and all of those things. Like those are recipes that I've been making for years. My cousin actually commented on a Facebook post and he said, "Man, is that old school cheesecake recipe?" And I said, "Indeed,
Yes,
it
it
is."
is.
And he remembers that from the '90s. So,
And fully loaded.
fully loaded.
Larry loves the caramels.
Creamy, rich. I like that you left a slight hint of cannabis actually in
Slight.
there,
Yep.
so that at least you know what's
Christian's
up.
over
Right?
Right.
Right.
I was like, I'm looking at this food. I don't see that.
It's great. It's milky. It just doesn't disappear. It just doesn't dissolve. There's actually the creaminess of
Yeah.
it is very, very good, very rich.
It's ingredients, premium.
Yeah.
premium
Again, he made it with
ingredients.
love.
Try all
Yes.
that.
I'm gonna take a little baby bite.
Yeah, it's delicious.
How many has this got in it?
So I don't know if that's the low dose or the high dose. We'll have to check the back of the
That's one of those
packaging.
10,000 milligram ones.
Oh
one
yeah,
bite
that's
in
all
your
I'm
toast
taking right there. I'll be on
They're
the floor in a
35
minute.
milligrams a piece.
Okay, so those are the traditional, the normal ones. We also carry those that are 70 milligrams a piece.
Those are good. That is really good.
And so, do you also have sugar-free choices, or how does that all work out? You stick to tinctures if you're looking sugar-free, kind of, which is
No.
probably the best way.
So
That's the-
we are going to be pushing out a sugar-free vegan line. It's going to be its own line. So we,
Here, you want to try this?
we like to look at ourselves how the Mars Corporation looks at it. Mars as a corporation, they're an old school candy bar company. There used to be a Mars bar, but they own Three Musketeer and Snicker and Twix and Big Five gum and all of these different brands. And what we wanted to do was to create as many brands that we could and let them compete amongst each other, but have them, on an even playing field. It's like you'll see commercials for Twix, you'll see commercials for, Snickers, but you're not seeing a Mars commercial for all of those
Right.
brands together. Because that you lose that competitive edge at that point. And we don't like to rush things either. So with releasing, products and product lines, like we're very, very strategic in that. And I think that's one of the reasons that we've had so much success is because we stuck to the plan.
Hey, we've got Roger Jeffcoat. He says those caramels and Pop Pops are amazing.
Yes, I hear that. Thank you so much.
They really are. And so what's the we talked to this one coming in that it looks like the Cocoa Pop version.
Yes. So
Cocoa Puffs.
when we launched, me and my partner had a talk. And I told him, I said, man, I don't want to be that brand that creates the high dose product. Somebody gets sick, goes to the hospital. We don't want to be the first ones to do that. I was like, so let's, we knew the niche market would be that beginner, consumer to edibles, maybe moderate. So we wanted to wait until we were about 6 to 8 months in, see how the market was, see if there was really a demand for, high dose products, and then release them. And let somebody else kind of be the fall guy, or, that company that says, see, we told you that this medical marijuana was no good and it was going to send people to the hospital. We just didn't want to take that chance.
Like, I don't want that on me.
Yeah, we didn't want to take that chance. So
Didn't want to take the treehouse marketing approach of it doesn't matter.
I mean, but I tell people like this, though. I laughed at all of the memes because they were funny. Mm-hmm. But they had a niche market. And there was, there are people that consistently shop at the 99-cent store.
Absolutely.
They buy everything at the 99-cent store. So for those,
And they're
type of
happy to buy it.
individuals- Exactly.
It
So
takes
for
all
those type
kinds to
of
make the world go
individuals,
round.
That's their market, and they knew where their market was. They just, screwed up with
Dollar
that whole
General
logo thing. Like,
There's Dollar Generals all over this
Yeah,
town,
all
and
over.
they
and they're
The
not
funniest
lacking
one
customers.
that I've seen so far was the snappers. That was funny. That was funny, though.
which one?
The one with the snappers.
Talking
Talking about I just got my bag and it was like the snappers. It had all that shit was funny though. I had
that
to
one was
laugh. I
funny.
giggled on that one. That one was
That one
funny.
was funny. So that there though is the that's the Big Daddy, and that's the 250 milligram Cocoa Puff cereal treat.
Good night, Irene, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there are other guys out there that create much higher dosage with their products and things like that. We like to stay in our wheelhouse, and our wheelhouse is not the 1,000 milligram brownies and things
Still,
like
250 is.
that. Right, 250 is high. I feel like 250 is high, but
There are
the
the-
demand is there for
Yeah.
it, so we're trying to fill that demand.
Yes, different. Larry can.
Different strokes
Get
for
it
different
in,
folks.
you know?
That's it. That's the.
I take
And
one.
really-
I get one of those little pebbles. That's all I'm doing.
In a lot of cases, if you're a frequent cannabis user, 250 milligrams to eat
It's
isn't
easy
nothing.
for you.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, if you've been on it for a while
Right,
and
right.
you
For
have
years,
it,
yeah.
high dosage of it in your blood.
I just tell people, if you're not used to eating edibles and you're just an avid,
There's levels to
smoker,
this.
Yeah, there are levels to it because I know people that they consume heavily, but you give them a 20, 25 milligram
It's a different
gummy or
story.
something, and they are done for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
It is.
I have to
The
say
thing
that.
about the edibles is it'll get you after the fact, and it stays and lingers for a while.
Yeah.
It does stay a lot longer than flour does. That's for sure.
It's a commitment.
Yes.
That's really what the
I
the
know. I was like,
edibles
why
are.
is this still happening? Why can't this go away?
There's a lot of different drugs out there, and
Yes.
and that's a commitment drug. When you start eating it, there's no eating a bowl of cereal and coming out of it and being
Right.
like, I'm cool now.
Right,
It's
right.
like my head, I can't start wobbling, and because I don't drink, but sometimes I like to get weed drunk, and it's a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
It is.
So, yeah, okay. So the big bar, and then all this stuff is available through all the different dispensaries. So if I'm in a place and they've got Mr. Mack stuff, but they don't see the King Kong Cocoa Puff, they need to ask for that kind of stuff, right? You
Yep.
said any kind of stuff that they see here or they see on your website, which they can go find at onlymax.com.
Only Mr. Max.
OnlyMrMax.com. Larry needs to get his bifocals fixed there. But yeah, onlyMrMax.com. See all the different products that are available there. Because some dispensaries can't, they don't know what to buy, right? At first, and they're like, just give me something to so if I'm walking in there, I say, Chili Mac, man, I want to carry some of your stuff. What is it that I need to, what's your number one seller out there that's happening?
Number one seller is the caramel by far.
Yeah, they crush it, bro.
Yeah.
They're just...
They kill it. Gummies and cereal treats are running neck and neck, especially since we did our price drops. So they've been running neck and neck. What I like to do is actually assess the customer, meaning the dispensary. So I'm gonna ask prying questions because I mean, as a businessman, it's my objective, one, to make the sale, but two, to make it, a recurring sale, recurring business. And the best way for me to do that is to know a little bit about your customers. What's the demographic? What's their spending habits? Like, if the average customer ticket in a place is, 35 or 45 bucks, I'm probably not going to be pushing tinctures towards them. Because
They're
at
probably not
a
gonna.
retail price point of 90 to 100 bucks, that's going to sit there for a while. But I can push the cereal treat that's $10 wholesale that will fit within that
Their budget.
customer's
Well, how
budget.
about one of these pops? That's got to be somewhere down around there that's reachable,
the
right?
Single pops, I believe, are like $10 something around that, somewhere around that range. And we're talking about 50 milligrams, premium product, premium ingredients, made in a display production kitchen that you can come in and watch the entire process. So, when people are talking about transparency, there's nothing more transparent than a 20-foot window looking into the factory
Exactly.
where you can see what is being made and what is going into your medicine.
Which kind of brings up our next one, which is the new packaging that's going to come out there.
Yes,
If
yeah,
you want to
that's
see it being made, you got to go actually to your place because now they put it in bags that you can't see anything in, right?
Correct. So I'm going to hand this to you, but I'm going to give you a little instruction on it. This little flap here, you'll pull this along with this one here, and that's how you open it. Without
Gotcha.
that, if, the child resistance is there.
That's the
There you
childproof
go.
part.
So
Yes.
there we
Gotcha.
go. That's
Yep.
the.
So, yeah, it's a two-part system.
See if we can't get a little bit big in here. So you sit there and be like,
Not going to work.
not going to work. So you got to get this underneath part here
Yep.
and give it
The attaboy
the
tug.
pull. There
Yep,
you go.
little attaboy tug, and there you go right there.
And if you can't figure it out, hand it to your kids, and they'll probably be able to figure it out for you because it's like now,
Those
these
what,
are
lemon
beautiful
drops?
candies.
So I believe that one is pineapple or
Oh,
pina
pineapple.
colada. Yeah. So on our hard candies, we go a little
go
all
cray,
out. So we go,
cray.
pineapple, bubble gum, tropical punch, tutti frutti.
Oh, we got a
pina
mixture in there.
coladas. Yeah, just,
So it's different flavors
just
in there,
random
not
stuff,
just one.
different
Oh, that's
flavors.
nice. Yeah, get a different flavor.
and
Mix
it's
it
more
up
on a
bit.
microdose style.
And those come in a 20 milligram or a 100 milligram. So if you want to get the, need the lower dose, there it is for you. You want something a little bit stronger, but you want to be discreet about it. Don't want to have to, consume a big old pie or a brownie or something like that. You can just pop that in, 100 milligrams, ready to go.
I mean, I tell you, I see those donuts and all that stuff that you have going over there. I said, wow, he's over there really
Yeah, and
getting it
it's
in.
like in the different chefs, they have their own personalities. So it's like Corian, she's our cinnamon roll expert. So
You tell Corian that Carrie said hello. She used to work
will.
with me. She was
Okay.
one of my bees when Hive staffing.
I will
I saw
definitely
her
let
on
her know.
Facebook. I saw her post up with you, and I said,
Yep.
I love her. She's awesome. She used to work with me.
Yep. Like,
Yep.
you know, that's her specialty. Tony, he's the muffin specialist, but he also does, you know, donuts. Chickaline and Adrian, they're the caramel specialists. Majority of these products are, you know, recipes that, you know, come from myself and have been taught to them, with the exception of the donuts. That's Tony's own thing. So shout out to Tony on the Cosmic Donuts. People let him things.
They look good.
There you go, Tony, on the deep fry. Are they deep fried donuts or
No.
right there? No, what are they?
Nope, no deep fry.
No,
Nope,
Baking them.
bacon.
baking them.
Yeah.
Fresh baked.
Fresh
So
baked.
they're at least on the healthier
Somewhat,
side
yeah.
for you. I
Correct.
mean
Yep.
the because something, you know, healthy and delicious is kind of a
Yeah.
It's
double-edged
hard.
sword.
Yeah, it is.
Get
It
there.
is. It definitely is. We will be going into, you know, some more savory options and things like that. We're looking at, you know, putting together maybe a take and bake program where, you know, you have pre-portioned, you know, products or dishes that you can take home and bake. So like, you know, baked ziti and different things like that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
There you go. And so you can find the full line of stuff over at onlymrmax.com. Go check out all their menus and stuff. If your local dispensary doesn't have it, they need to either get it
Need
or
to get
you're
it in
go
there.
somewhere else because they're gonna want it. These pops or and at first I thought there was going to be like a cake pop,
I did too. That's the first
but
thing.
it's totally different than a cake
Lollipop.
pop.
Yeah,
That's
so-
Lolly.
I'm afraid of packaged baked goods. I'm a pastry chef, and,
Yeah.
and I know what happens with these type of products if they're, you know, the moisture
We saw the
level
one that was
isn't-
open and popped open. Melinda's
Yeah, and you know,
had the mold in it.
And,
I
and
said,
I
"Whoo!"
said that could, you know, that could have come from a couple
Anywhere.
Ton
different
of
things.
stuff.
It could have, you know, it could have been a cake pop that the moisture level was too high. It could have been the cake was too warm when it was dipped, and so now you have this, you know, warm, humid atmosphere, and then you're gonna package it. So now
Stick it and
you're
close it up so it
confining
can just continue to
Right, and
grow.
It's just gonna continue to grow, and it's inside of a candy coating, so it hasn't escaped yet.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I mean, there's just a lot of different things, and I just told my partners, I was like, you know, guys, when it's time for that, we'll know, and we'll have an idea of what products we want to actually go with. So Dank Confections is the name of the actual baked good line that we will package.
Okay.
It'll be, you know, brownie bites, cookies, dip cereal bites, and that will be available in the next 3 weeks. So we got a lot of
That's
stuff
it.
Oh,
rolling
you-
out over the next.
He act
3
like
weeks.
it's going to be like the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to wait a whole 3 weeks.
Well, next week we're rolling out our carts. So we're launching the Mr. Mack line of carts, and that's, you know, we're doing the same as our tinctures,
Yeah.
and then our own in-house strains as well. The in-house strains are on a different release schedule. So these, the Candy Jack, Girl Scout, Northern Lights, those will be released next week. We're going to start promoing for that. We're doing a little giveaway, giving away a pair of tickets for, you know, every person that buys a cart gets an entry to win a pair of tickets to the High Times Cannabis Cup.
What?
Yeah, so,
That's one
That's
way to do
nice.
it.
yeah, you know, so I mean, it's
Speaking
a
of,
double up.
so you're going to be at the High Times.
Yes,
So you're entering.
yes.
What are you entering?
We entered caramels, gummies, pops, our lotion, and our pain balm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lotion. Do you have some of that lotion here with you? Or what do
you know, so when I was putting my kit together, I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing? And the topicals were the two things that I were missing.
Okay.
Did we cover everything in the box? What else do we got over there?
Oh, man, so we got, you know, cool things.
Oh well, yeah.
like
Come on, let's keep the parade
batteries
going.
And
Oh, these are
branded
the-
grinders, and you know, we're we're
He's going all the
about
way down
branding.
through
There
there.
you go.
For us, it's all about brand recognition. Regardless if you're into the edibles, if you're into flour, concentrates, topicals, whatever it may
full
be.
line of
When you
batteries.
see that brand, you associate it with the
And the
industry.
batteries is a thing that a ton of people are not even putting in their dispensaries.
Right.
They're selling all the rest, but they don't give you a battery. Then you got to go somewhere else to find a battery.
Right. I mean,
Like, what am I gonna do with
one-stop
that?
shop. If I sell you the cart, I want to be able to sell you the battery. I want you to be fully functional.
Exactly.
Same thing with concentrate. So we do, rigs. This is a novelty rig of like a juice
Oh, yeah.
box. So I'm big on like throwback stuff.
You could come on anytime, Janine. Just let us know.
Hi, Janine.
She said we need to get our grow equipment on here. Yes, we do. We actually need to do our little grow segment, like we tried to do that one
Look
time.
at you with the burro now. Where are you coming out
I'm-
of here?
I'm-
The
I mean,
dome?
he's just-
How long have you seen these around, Mr. Mack? This is
That's
this is
classic right
throwback.
there.
You,
Yes,
I-
exactly.
He said, "I'm bringing it back."
So it's like when the company we utilized, they were like, well, what kind of
Who'd you go,
rigs
Empire?
are-" No, I went with a company called Ganesh Vapes.
Right.
I got a grinder at a industry event a couple years ago, and it was that grinder that you have
This
in your
right
hand
here.
minus
Right.
the M. And I said, when I get to a point to where we're gonna do accessories, this is the company that I'm gonna use. So I built a relationship with these guys, and when it was go time, I just hit them up, let them know exactly what I was trying to do, and they made it happen.
Grinder.
Yeah.
That's a very heavy grinder. Also, good quality.
Good quality. Exactly. It's like for us, it's all about quality and consistency. So we wanna make sure that the accessories match the quality of the product that's going into the accessory.
The curtains match the drapes.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying there.
Definitely.
And it's got all kinds of different level grinders, and it's probably and then you got your bottom keef station there.
Got your little
That's
keep
even
shovel in
there,
there and
yeah.
all that good stuff.
That's a
solid
deluxe.
steel.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's George and Wheezy right there. We're
Yeah.
moving up
Yeah.
to a deluxe apartment, so that's pretty cool. And they can, if you're a dispensary, you can carry the full line of Max, Mr. Max.
I mean, we got everything: lanyards, pop sockets, buttons. We're not. playing the game.
Yeah, no, you're geared out for sure.
I want to be the cookies of Oklahoma.
Right.
When with the cookie company, shout out to Jigga and Pie Guy. Those are the breeders that are behind a lot of the strains from cookies. But it's like when they came onto the scene, they came on with such a wave. It was undeniable. Like, you knew about it if you were a consumer or not. If you saw that logo, if you saw someone with the cookies hat or the shirt, and that's what we wanted to bring here. In conjunction with operating like the Mars Corporation. So it cracked me up when people were like, oh yeah, Mr. Max, they came from Colorado and they're this big corporation, and we're looking at each other like we're 7 guys that literally do everything from production to delivery to literally everything. It wasn't
So
until
you're not
we-
from Colorado.
Vacuum,
No.
clean the,
You're
clean
from
the
Oklahoma.
dishes, right? Just
Edmond.
everything.
And my
Oh, from Edmond.
And my partner, he's from Westmore.
Westport, Edmond, y'all. Come
Yeah.
on now.
So, one guy, he was upset and blah, 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 blah. And I said, buddy, I used to wash your car. And he looked at me and he was like, what? I said, yeah, Edmond, Broadway Extension, fast lanes. They call it something else now. You would bring it there once a month. And he looked at me. He says, oh my God, you've done good for yourself. So I'm like, so can we stop this whole, But people were upset. I had one lady message me and was like, I need to see, what did she say? I need to see like a bill and I need to see proof of residency and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, who the hell are you? And she's just like, well, I'm just a concerned patient and blah, blah, blah. I said, ma'am, what you're doing is extremely dangerous. And they have regulatory bodies for that. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can make a complaint and they'll reach out to us. But you shouldn't be messaging people demanding
Asking them for their-
information
yeah.
and then want to be mad when they don't want to give it to you. Like it's
People
crazies out here.
have, don't you know they got special power on
It's some
Facebook?
crazies out here.
Don't you know you're required to do all this craziness? I was told I was required to do a
Yeah.
lot of things too.
Definitely.
You know, I was just like, yeah, people behind Facebook, they have magical powers that they don't have in real life.
Everybody's an expert.
Yeah.
That's very. It is amazing how many experts there are, but then when it comes time to actually put your cards on the table and see that real proof, and that's some of the things that you can find out over on your website too. You can find out about you and your transparency. You have tests and all that kind of stuff up here on the
Yeah, I mean, we're proprietary to Fast Labs. You know, there's a lot of hoopla going on right now about testing and stuff like that. And, you know, the varying results from
Different
certain
labs,
tests and
different
things like
labs.
that. And it's like, you know, if you don't understand that there are different techniques and there are different machines that, you know, utilize, you know, some are alcohol based, some are hexane based or ethanol or whatever it may be. There's this thing called a margin of error. And every single, you know, testing equipment has this margin of error. And it's usually going to be, you know, somewhere between 2 and 7%. So when you look at all of these test scores and, or, you know, testing results, they fit within the margin of error. So if I know what I'm buying as a source material and I have that source material tested and it is in line with what I know I bought, when I create my products, if I'm using the proper formula, my dosing is going to be in line every single time. So when I go and have that product tested, I know where that product should test.
Right.
And so, you know, it's cool to bounce around and try different places, and people, you know, chase price points and stuff like that.
And they're not
But
that different to be chasing
They're
them
not
like
really
that.
that different. But I know, like, if this is what this is supposed to be, and this is the formula that I use, this is where this product should fall in line, and we've never had an issue with that. So, you know.
right.
I think that what I was hearing was like they sent the same strain, same product to two different places. They came back extremely different.
Yeah.
And that's where the concern was.
Yeah.
And I could see that too. I mean, it is concerning, but it goes back to
But
what
what
you
are
were
the
saying.
variables,
They have a
though?
regulatory body also that they're
Right.
responsible to be certified through
Right.
and be licensed through. So those are concerns you have to address with the proper people so they can look into it. Because griping about it on Facebook isn't going to get it fixed. And isn't going to change anything. But if you are very concerned, and it's really your concern for the well-being of something, you would contact the people that you have the concern with.
And consistency is key, though.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you don't know what you're working with,
Right.
how do you know what you're getting?
Right.
You know, and it's like people will buy things and there's no testing to that. So they're creating these things and they're like, oh, well, this should be this because I did this by this. And they're not using formulas. They're going off of grams. And it's like, okay, let's go off of a gram, right? So you have this gram, but how many milligrams of THC is in that 1,000 milligrams?
Right.
You don't know. Is it 90? Is it 60? So when you're trying to calculate and do proper dosing, if you don't know what your source material is,
Then you're
it's
just,
a crap shot.
It is, yeah.
Right.
And so it's like the way that testing is laid out, it's quarterly, and then they haven't even identified what the word batch means in the Unity bill yet. So, and then they're also saying that testing has to be done by OMMA certified labs, and they're saying they won't certify any labs until early 2020 because they don't know how yet.
Right.
So we're gonna be in this little
Limbo.
cycle, of just inconsistent product.
Until then, yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna hear a lot of the hit and miss. This worked, this didn't. Well, this was okay, but this didn't. And, it sucks.
One
Yeah.
guy used this one, the other guy used the
Yep.
spectrograph, the other
Yep.
one used the
Yep.
the NDT or whatever they call the other one, and so that's the way it plays out here. And I think the good manufacturers, they promote that. That was one of the things that it was from one of your speeches in the morning or your shares in the morning. We were talking about the testing, and then like I'm a libertarian to go from way back that I don't think it should be mandatory for anybody, because then if you step up and you be the better producer in the marketplace and you have your stuff tested and you use that as a benefit for you to say, I go the extra mile, I have mine tested. People will come to your product rather than being mandated that everybody's got to be tested. And then you don't know who is really into it for my interest or who has to do it. And then it's like that. So I'm always and you can see on all your products there, you've got the lab testing right there, third party certified. And that's it. And that's the other thing is the labs who watches the Watchmen.
Right.
So it's
I mean that part right there is a little outside of my wheelhouse. But but you're right. When we launched, and this comes from going to other markets, studying other markets, looking at compliance, looking at what worked for people, what didn't work, what products people liked, what they didn't like. We knew where the medical market was going to go. We knew there were going to be, warnings, and we would have to have, this poison control and this THC, this and that. So when we launched with our original packaging, all of this information was already there. We already had ingredients. We already had batch numbers. Like, we were literally the pioneer for labeling at that particular time. Well, everyone else was still, the Ziploc with the little sticker. So you're right. It kind of set that bar for edible companies, and people looked at us differently. They looked at us. They literally, like I said, they thought we were this corporate giant that was coming from Colorado or somewhere.
Right. No,
take over.
we just cared enough to do a good quality product, even on the packaging.
It's just business. That's one of the things that I think a lot of people in the space don't realize is that it's not going to be a get-rich-quick scheme. No. It's not going to be in the long run. It's not going to be billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. It's going to be nice livings for people that can run good, efficient models, just like they would in any other business. That's it. It's the efficiency in the marketplace, and we just happen to might love weed a little bit,
or a lot.
So it's that's the.
We're at almost 170, I think, patients.
170 patients.
Almost. Yeah, I think we're really close to that.
Nice.
So that's a good number. Let's talk about his event he's helping his, or actually
do that.
Our neighbors, ironically.
Yes.
It's on our Grinder page. We've got the flyer posted, and it's a really good, they do it every year.
Yeah, this is their 7th annual, and it was brought to my attention from one of our bud tenders, Amanda. And, for us, I mean, we're, like any other traditional business, we try and, put our marketing and advertising budgets in play, 2 or 3 months in advance. But there are certain things that, resonate with people. And, this is one of those things that kind of touched me a little bit, because I was one of these kids that utilized these type of programs and services. So it was like, hey, in a position to, give back a little bit. So, here we go. But
so yeah, it's Sunday, August 18th. It's right at Northwest 16th and Meridian in the Meridian Shopping Center, Thundercuts. They're a well-known barbershop here. Pretty famous, actually. They've been around for quite a while. So it's in the same shopping center. There's Larry's favorite restaurant, Little Caesar's Pizza.
Pizza.
And
crunchy.
Looks like they're going to have a lot of things going on. So they're going to have a 3-point contest, a moon bounce, food. They're giving away school supplies. You're also asking for donations from any dispensaries too that might want to participate for school supplies. Or what are you doing with that?
So I reached out to a few colleagues in the industry, and I'm one of those people that I've built this voice, and I want to utilize it for positive things.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to a few colleagues and was just like, hey guys, I'm involved with this. This is what it's about. This is who they are. I'm really looking to see if anyone's interested in donating some school supplies, backpacks, monetary donations, whatever it may be, to help further this movement. And I've gotten some really, really good
great
feedback, so happy that the industry is being a part of it and kind of stepping up with me.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to participate, this is for the children. So it'll primarily probably go to most of the people over in this neighborhood, but I know people come from all over the city and bring their kiddos. So it's not limited.
Backpacks last year.
650 backpacks last year. So it's not limited. I don't believe that you have to live in the neighborhood in order to participate. So this is open to anyone that needs help and assistance with their kiddos, and you need to get your children a haircut. Is it for boys and girls or mainly
Boys
barber?
and girls.
Okay,
They're
so
cutting boys and they're styling girls.
styling.
and,
Okay,
you know,
so bring your kiddos, regardless whatever age they are. If they're in school, bring them out, get them a free haircut. Come get them some free backpacks. If you guys can help donate any kind of school supplies or monetary dollars, if you want to get with Chili Mack on that, or if you want to drop anything off over here, we're in the same shopping center. We'll be happy to hold it on his behalf over here at Northwest 16th and Meridian. So if you guys want to participate, or if you need to definitely come out and bring up the kids, it's going to have a bounce house, and who knows what all's going to be going on. It's going to be a fun time. So take advantage. That's one of the great things about our communities. A lot of times when it is time for school drives, everybody steps up, and so this is definitely a good thing for you guys to help out with as well. So
definitely.
yeah, help out our
It's
kiddos.
all about the youth. That's really who's going to take care of us when we get old and
Right.
decrepit there, even though we're not, because we're going to eat lots of Mr. Mack's medibles, and it's going to make us live forever.
And hats off to
That's
Thundercuts for 9 years.
This is 7.
Or 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years. 7 years in a row. I mean,
That is really great. The area is so charitable, especially when it comes to the children around in the spaces. And unfortunately, the state hasn't done so well with
No, they have
providing
not.
for the students.
Right.
And so it's a matter of stepping up into your own community.
Individuals, yep.
Every dollar you invest in one of these kids is $100 you'll get back
Right.
out of the community to
You know, like I said, I was one of those kids. You know what I
Right,
mean?
there you
So
go.
Programs, you know,
Well,
like
and then you
this
got your
helped
kids
me.
as a lot of single parents out there, so a lot of them are struggling to get these items because I know they give you the long laundry list of all the school supplies, and then they take, this is what kills me. They have us go get these $200-300 worth of stuff for your kid. You go take it on the first day of school, then they put it in a closet, and then half the children or parents don't bring it, and so then you wind up replenishing it all year long for everybody, you know. And it's like you might buy specific things for your kid, don't even get it, it goes in a closet.
Yeah.
why they don't give every one of these kids a laptop and skip all this book stuff and
They
do
had
all
started that at
like,
one point, and then
get
something
rid of that
happened
stuff.
with
Yeah,
it.
the kids became smarter and probably owned the network and were schooling the teachers like, you can't get in there, teachers.
Yeah.
Enough of that.
I
They
mean,
were given the
but
discounted
when you
stuff.
look at it, and I mean, it's, you know, it's broken down by, you know, demographics and stuff like that. So when you know, look at charter schools, or you look at schools in, you know, different zip codes, because I mean that's how tax money is broken down by that particular district in that zip code. So, you know, there are those schools that, you know, every kid has an iPad and, you know, so on and so
there are.
forth. And then you go 5 miles down the same road.
They
and
got broken
they
books,
got broken books.
missing
and-
pages, and
Exactly. You know, so, you know,
desks falling apart.
as parents, as, you know, lawmakers, we deserve to do better for our children. I mean, we're in a progressive world right now.
Yep.
From just the technology in the last 10 years alone. So if we can't get them up to date books, if they should be on, you know, the 9th edition and they still have the 2nd edition,
It's not okay.
what all are they missing? You know, how much are we contributing to, you know, their miseducation or uneducation?
Sure.
That's part of the reason the charter schools are starting to pop up more and more, is because parents are taking it in their own hands
Yeah, and they
and
can
getting them
get
out
the
of the
money.
public school. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, having to do that. So pull up our other little thing I sent you, Larry, so we could talk about what's getting ready to launch.
What?
Your messages, your Facebook messages.
Oh, it's getting ready to launch. What are we launching?
Are you in me or you?
I'm in me.
Okay, it's in your Facebook messages.
Oh wait, don't go there yet, Christian.
Don't show the porn.
What are you?
I sent it to your messenger
When?
right before we came on.
I don't know. What are we talking about?
I don't know. Chili Mack, I'm scared.
I am too.
No, it would have been to your messages. Go to your messages.
Me?
Yeah.
From you?
God, let me do it again. One moment, please. Let's see. I just sent it from Thug Juicy to you is where I sent it from. It's our logo for our new organization.
Yeah, that didn't come through.
Okay, let me find it. One moment. Well, we're super excited. It's actually came down. Yeah, use that one for the moment. There we go, Larry. There you go. Bam. Should have it now. Miss Connie said, "That's not plural, honey. Fix that first." So I had to fix it. Yeah, Snoop.
You got any in there?
No. Laptop.
Yeah, pull us out. There you go.
There we go.
Special guest tonight.
That's our guest.
Oh,
Hey,
what up?
getting it in. He's like, "Uh-oh, something really cool's getting ready to happen."
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
Bang, bang, bang. Where you at? Okay.
Bam. There we go.
There we go. We've got a new organization.
Yeah, it's called the Oklahoma Business Coalition, for the people, by the patients. And this is something we've been working on for a little while and still have some work to do. We're just now in the beginning stages of
Tell
it.
us a little bit about For the People, by the Patients. In other words, what we're saying is most of the businesses are actually the patients.
True.
That's I know I'm seeing double. And so that's why we started, is because there's so much commerce going on in here that we needed to have a bit more of a voice out
Yeah,
there.
and something that's more about collectively everyone's voice. And so we're wanting to have an opportunity for people from all different demographics and different ideologies, and just, not just one or two or three or four people's ideas or what they think. We want to have an opportunity to hear what actually all the people in the cannabis community want. And of course, with there being so many businesses, we're very thankful for that, but there is a lot of people with a lot of different concerns and voices. And so we've created a panel of individuals that are going to be part of this, and everybody have an opportunity to talk and to go down and actually be at the Capitol, have multiple people down there. Very, very excited. We've got former Senator Connie Johnson. She's going to be on our panel with us. And Mr. Chili Mack right here is going to be someone that'll be on there with us. And, of course, Larry and I. And we've got several other people. Mr. Hemp himself, Mr. Brenneman.
Mr. Mark.
He'll be on there, and there's several other really great people. We're still kind of forming it, putting it together, but we're real excited. Spent a lot of time talking with Connie Johnson yesterday, and she is definitely a breath of fresh air and brings a great perspective, and real excited to be working with her. She has a disability federation organization that she's putting together that specifically is going to be with disability and cannabis. And look forward to working on some projects with her with that, and just a lot of good things come down the pipeline. And she's got some great ideas as far as for us to work with the Capitol and to actually train and educate all the legislators. So
Cannabis really is.
in January we're going to she's going to organize it, and we're going to push the gas on it, but we're going to actually pretty much commandeer the entire fourth floor, and we'll be asking for a lot of support from a lot of the people within all the different, like you see, dispensaries, patients, growers, processors. We're going to be asking for a lot of different people to go, and we're going to actually train and educate all the senators, the House of Representatives, just everyone down at the Capitol, actually train them and educate them on cannabis, because a lot of them don't have a clue.
No.
They don't even know. And so they're making these decisions for us, and they're making all these different ideas and coming up with all these trailer bills and doing all these different things, and they just really don't know much about cannabis. kind of like I didn't when I first got started. Before I got to learn read the manual, we got a hold of me,
I
man.
still don't
And
know
now
it,
now I'm learning so much. But I'm kind of in that percentile. I was one of those people who didn't know a lot and didn't understand it and didn't see all the benefits that it has. But like I said before, anyone that's a human being that can see that this particular plant can do the type of things it does in a medicinal side to help kill cancer and help stop seizures and take pain away and just make people be able to function in life, period.
Get through your daily shit.
Yeah, after the shit you got to go through all day long, and you can actually cope and get through life. Who was anybody to tell anybody that they shouldn't be able to have that option? So that's what I'm real excited about. So I'm really, really excited that Miss Connie's came on board to work with us, and I definitely look forward to learning from her, us working together. She's got some great ideas on some partnerships for us to work with within the Capitol, and some people we need to speak with immediately on different issues and situations. And I really look forward to working with her on her disability federation as well, because I used to work for the Department of Rehab as a job coach. I didn't work for them, but I had a job coaching company, so I'm real familiar with a lot of the people and a lot of stuff that she was talking about. So it's going to be really good. And I know we've got coming up in October, we're going to do a Cannibal.
Cannibal.
Yeah, October the 28th.
Wow.
Yeah, at the Dust Bowling. So we're going to be, it looks like I got two horns. People are going to say I'm a devil.
The devil.
Those are really joints, though. I'm not the devil. Shrink it down, Christian. They'll be talking shit for real now.
There you go.
No, I'm a bunny. Okay, that's more of a bunny. I'll take a bunny than a devil. Let me shrink down. So October 28th at the Dust Bowling, which is over there by the bakery, over by, what is that? What are you doing?
Let's talk a little bit more about the bowling. Are we gonna have competition?
I think we should have dispensary versus dispensary. I think grower versus grower. I think
Mr.
processor
Mack
versus
team, right?
processor.
Mr. Mack get a bowling team.
Yeah, we're going to have a patient drive that's going to be a very, very economical one, probably pretty much one of the lowest ones I've seen. She has a classmate that is a physician who actually is part of Chronic Docs, or has been, worked with us in the past. So he's going to help provide some of that. So we'll be able to do a patient drive very economically out there. But yeah, Cannibal. So we'll get that put together, get the details on it, and that's going to be October 28th. It's a Monday, and it'll be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So a little bit earlier than some of the dispensaries close down, but better get if you got the best arm, make sure you send them. Make sure you send out the good bowlers, so they can strike them.
Bowling.
We're gonna get bragging
cannabis,
bragging rights,
patient rights, food.
Yes.
And Monday Night Football.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then right before October 28th, you can't forget October 19th.
You just tell me when to show up. I don't even know it.
It's our Halloween.
The
event we're going to have
Halloween Harvest Fest?
The Harvest Fest out at Lost Lakes. We're still working on our lineup on who all we're getting to come out to that, but it's going to be a great time. It's going to be the Haunted Forest. So if you want to get scared,
I don't.
Be scared just a little bit out at the Halloween event.
I swing too much for that.
That's it. I don't.
Man, when they jump out at you and you hear, I can get through just about anything. One, I can't do when the spider stuff hits you in the face. That just freaks me out. And then the chainsaw, I'm like, don't do it, because I'm afraid it's not on there and they're going to cut me up for real, like Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm like, don't touch me. I'm like, I'm that guy. Like, I'm just swinging things.
Yeah. And then you smell all the gas and they start doing their.
I'll just wait outside.
I can't wait to.
And people
see you get out
actually
there.
go and pay money to.
Like,
to
hey, can I
get
pay
scared
extra to
like
have them
that.
touch
That's
me?
like,
Hell no.
what? Are you
Not
crazy?
touching me.
Oh,
No.
yeah. But if you're into it, it's one of the best out there. From what I understand, it's like one of the best in the nation. It's like on the 1,000 acres.
It's 1,000
It's
acres.
huge.
They go all crazy. Actually, we'll probably be helping with the staffing for that. So if there's anybody that likes that kind of stuff and likes to chase people around and get painted up and put on costumes, we'll be hiring about 60 people for the whole month of October. We're going to actually possibly be having events out there every week, having themed weeks of different fun stuff. You know, that's the thing is everybody kept saying, man, Oklahoma, there's nothing to do in Oklahoma. Man, the weed hit, and we're just going crazy. We're just fun times.
All of a sudden, floating the river is cool again.
Yeah, it's cool again. Yeah, having
Going for a
fun.
hike or a walk.
Yeah, actually being just normal people where we just kind of got away from it and stuff like that. But I think it'll be fun. I don't think I've been in the forest. I've been to a couple of the haunted houses, but I hadn't been to the forest. I think it might have frightened me a little bit much. But I'll see what happens this year. I'm gonna have Larry out there in a costume.
So there you go. We can do that. And just a little
Do
bit
it.
on the Oklahoma Business Coalition that we were there. We're full spectrum.
Yep.
Which is one of the great things about what's going on there. And if you want to get involved with us, hit us up. We the same thing with the patient thing is like the next patient is the most important patient.
Yep.
Go out, push the drives. If you can find 2 people this week to go out and get their cards for one, it's a great medicine. For 2, it's really a great way to stay safe out here if you happen to be.
And one thing that Miss Connie made it a point, and I'm going to moving forward with every one of my drives and stuff that I'm doing, but we need to start incorporating the vote card. Like if they're getting their medical card, are you registered to vote? If they're not registered to vote, go ahead and get them registered to vote while you're there. So we all need to, we've got tons of people doing these patient drives. We need to all be getting us a stack of voting cards, and we need to be, not forcing down their throat, but by all means, they need to be registered to vote if they're able to. And if she did say she wanted us to make certain to let people know about the incarceration situation and people who have felonies, that you can absolutely vote. They sent a kind of like Reefer Madness. They did that here too in Oklahoma. If you're a felon, you can't vote ever. That was a big thing that was going around for quite a while, she said, and that is not true. If you're a felon, you absolutely can vote. You just can't be on like probation. Correct. Or on papers, parole, and things like that, what they would say. So just because you're a convicted felon, you absolutely can vote. And if you are on probation or are on parole and you can't vote, you need to, as a duty to yourself to help yourself, you need to grab 2 of your family members and see, are they registered to vote? And if they're not registered to vote, they need to at least vote for you on your behalf and at least try to get them to. But that's the way that's how we're going to make change, and that's a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about is trying to educate normal people like me. For one, I'm learning all this. I will never claim that I know everything there is to know, because I definitely don't. I'm going to learn a lot. I've already learned a lot so far, like even from Norma Sapp. She was very gracious on showing me the ropes when I first got into the cannabis space and started going up to the Capitol. So shout out to her. She's great. And, I'm sure their organization is going to do great things, just like our organization is going to do great things. It's just having more of a voice available for everybody. That's really what our ultimate goal is, and to be able to bring in the perspectives from everywhere. Not that the people in place are not doing that necessarily. It's just we have a different style to it, right, and what we're trying to bring to the table and what we feel is important as for what's calling within ourselves. And so this is something that we've been talking about, we've been working about. As I've talked to people out in the community, they're saying the same thing, that they would like different issues and different things to be spoke about. And so I might not agree with something that you agree about necessarily, but you're still going to have an opportunity. And when we go down to the Capitol, you're going to be able to voice your opinion just as well as Larry will be able to, with people maybe that he's been speaking with or anything in that matter. So that's the one thing I'm really excited about, is to making sure that everybody has an opportunity for their voice to be heard. And because there's always more than one side to everything, and so and there's so many people, and we're going to be working on some technology to help out people that are out on the panhandle, that are people that might be bedridden, some of these patients that don't really have the ability or accessibility to get down to the Capitol. We're going to be working on a lot of technology to allow those people to speak directly to their senators and their congressmen and all the different people, so that their voice absolutely can be heard. So we're going to work on things other than just phone calls and form letters and things like that. Those are absolutely important and they need to happen. But we're going to work on some other ways to get in front of our people down at the Capitol so that hopefully we can start making some real change. I mean, it takes a long time. That's what she's like, I've been down there for years, and there's been, I had to tell her that, I feel privileged because everybody did the petitions and everybody did all these things, but had she not been that person back in the day that made them listen when they didn't want to listen, and she got shot down and shot down and shot down, but she was really the first person that brought it to the Capitol. Was like, we want medical cannabis.
Was it 2013?
I think she started it way before that even.
Well, that was when it got close to being on the board.
Yeah. But I mean, had it not been for her, so I was like, I feel privileged that we're able to work with such a very knowledgeable, and she's just got great ideas and working on a lot of great things. So that's going to be real exciting. So
I tell people, it's like, it's good to have, coalitions and boards and panels, because it's like, when we, like you were saying, you may not agree with something that I see or that I feel, but the problem that we as an industry are encountering is we don't have a quote unquote voice. We have the stigma. So we have all of these people who, are our lawmakers and people who have been assigned to these different committees and panels to regulate our industry, and they don't have any education. They don't know anything about the plant, and they don't know what our needs or wants are as the people who voted you into office, as the people who voted for, SB 788. And just to give a different perspective and let people's, voices be heard, because the more angles that they can see things from, and, this person utilizes this for this, and this person utilizes this for that, and this person utilizes this for this. Not one time have they said anything about getting high.
Right.
Not one time have they said anything about this. They're actually talking about the medicinal attributes. Maybe we should look at the medicinal attributes instead of listening to the people who are, funding the anti-788 campaigns, the harvest banks and stuff like that. So, people deserve to have their voice in.
Yeah, for sure. And then it goes back to the education too. If they're clueless, like I was clueless before I got into this, talking back to the rub on the leg. My dad, he's in security. He's a cleat certified, carries a gun. He wishes a motherfucker would, he's like a cowboy. My dad's like, yeah, he wishes they would test him today. But he won't even rub it on his knee or nothing because he's scared to death. But I'm like, Dad, it's not going to come like that, and he's like, nope, I can't do it. Yeah. But I'd be like, you could take the pain away. Took my pain away on my knee, and he just won't do it. And so, I think it just goes down to the education part of it too. And like even with I keep referring back to, because that was the most recent thing, but was the Fat Getter situation with the waste management, and just going in and talking to them and letting them know there is no waste. How much waste do you have in your grow? It happens.
In the grow?
Yeah.
So actually, I know this because I was just doing these reports. So we average from the grow probably around maybe 50 to 80 pounds a month, but we're talking about root balls, stems.
Right, that's not considered
stuff that we're non-usable cannabis. As far as processing is concerned, we probably have around maybe 50 to 60 pounds a month, but we're talking about, the little excess flakes off of hard candy that accumulate, or when we cut, Fruity Pebble treats, there may be little slivers left, because for it to be the exact weight, it has to be the right size and thickness and so on and so forth. So, there is some waste, but not enough to, warrant a regulatory body and giving contracts to 2 or 3 entities.
Where you got to pay $1,500 a month to them. Yeah.
To the incinerator every third
Thursday. Right. I'm allowed to
can
burn
we just eat
where my farm is. Like, what's the problem? So,
yeah.
Right.
So, that's the part where but again, and he wasn't knowledgeable of the plant, period, or the process for that matter, or what it took. I wonder how many of them have taken the time to visit a grow, to visit a dispensary, to visit an actual processing facility. One like yours, and one who does with all the big machines. It looks like the Nutty Professors in there. Like, how many of them have taken the time to go in and actually spend that time? I doubt very few.
Well, and if they did, they'll see just how similar they are to any other industry.
Yeah.
Right.
If you go to a processor and they're doing extraction, you're looking at chemists. You're looking at people who are performing scientific tasks every single day. You're going to see the same equipment here that you're going to see at OU. You know what I mean? So when you're there and your boots on the ground, you can resonate with that. But when they sit from behind a table or sit from behind a telephone, there's that dissociation from that. They're not able to go there and be like, oh, well, I was expecting to see a bunch of hippies smoking doobies in a corner. Oh, I was expecting to see, this is how you really do that. And when that answer is yes, then they look at it a different way. They have a different perspective, a different viewpoint.
You got to put booties on and a hairnet before you walk.
They
through
act
the
like it's like
store
toxic waste.
all
It's
that
going to
kind
burn
of
your
stuff.
skin off. And
Well, they
it's
just
like,
don't know.
Oh, it's got
That's
to be. It's going to be so bad.
Think about it like this, right? Cannabis went through the same thing that alcohol did in the Prohibition, right? Prior to Prohibition, alcohol was, whatever it was, right? So they ban it. It becomes, crazy. There's all this propaganda going around. They end Prohibition. All the little mom and pop craft breweries come up. They're doing their thing. They have the market for a little while. The big guys come in, the Budweisers, the Millers, the Coors, so on and so forth. All the little small guys go out of business. Big guys reign for however long they're gonna reign, and then there's the rebirth of the craft brands. So all of that hard ciders and the IPAs and all of that stuff. Cannabis is going through and going to go through the exact same thing.
Yep.
We had Reefer Madness, which was our Prohibition, and now we're going back into some sort of legalization. So the mom and pop guys, they're getting in the game. The corporations are a little hesitant. Most of them are until it's federally rescheduled, but they're in play. They've contacted everybody that they need to contact. They know what farms are going to allow them to do, brand asset licensing agreements to grow their products and so on and so forth. And a lot of guys like us will fall by the wayside if we're not in position to endure that onslaught.
Yep.
So, it's there's a lot to it. And,
There is.
And people, they're just looking at it from, the exterior, like they were not just buying, $50 apes off the street. Like, stop it. You were buying $50 apes off the street, untested, with heavy metals, fecal matter.
I just said that yesterday.
And now you're complaining about $33 apes that are fully tested and compliant. Like, that just make sense.
And we had to buy a special bag.
Gotta buy special bags. We gotta buy special labels.
Gotta have a scale that's got the license calibrated properly.
Right. We gotta
Cost money.
have
Series
product
2.
liability insurance at $1 million per instance, and so on, because it's a food item. Like,
You gotta get the mop sink. Don't you dare forget the mop sink.
Mop sink, 3 compartment sinks. Just everything.
Mop sink is imperative to be able to sell these, and mop sink is required.
Yeah, but people.
I asked that.
They
That
don't
was retarded.
They don't understand that, so it's not a part of their daily life. So they're not able to attach a cost to that.
Right.
So for them, there is no cost. So a lot of times, I can't really be mad at people for not understanding the cost of goods and services and not understanding business and business structure. I really can't fault them. It's the ones that are overly loud about it.
Yeah.
And I posted a picture, and it was on, and I don't want to really go into this too much, but it was on gun violence in the United States, and it said that there were 3.4 homicides for every 100,000 Americans. And the person is like, oh, population is irrelevant and blah blah blah, and all of those countries, you could fit inside the United States. And I'm like, you're missing the whole point of this. The whole point of this was by population, by every 100,000 there are this many homicides and this many suicides. And when you look at other wealthy countries, those rates are like astronomically different. Why does it have to be this way? And then you get people that all they hear is, oh, you want to take my guns? The first thing I say is, before anyone loses their shit, I am a firm believer in the second.
Sure.
It was just written when it was musket balls and gunpowder. It took 2 minutes to reload to fire a single round. Like, we as civilians do not need 30 and 100 round magazines. Like, I don't see that. If I can't take care of my business with, you know, a 15 round magazine, I probably don't need that sidearm.
No.
And I definitely aren't gonna be squirrel hunting with an AR. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
There ain't
you know what I
much
mean?
left of 'em.
It's a gray area.
Even with a
you know?
cap and ball gun, there ain't much left of a squirrel when you hit that
No,
sucker.
you
Man.
know,
That thing
so
explodes.
I have a
miss me with
mad
all the
BB
sport.
gun.
No, but that's the. I thought that was a good point, but also on the other side is like the genie's out of the bottle now.
Right.
Like they'll never be able to gather up what's already out there, arsenal
Correct,
that's
correct,
already living
correct.
out there. But paying a little bit more to mental health,
Yes.
you know, that kind of stuff, and seeing some of the warning signs. I got to give a shout out to Storm, who's a definitely active member in the community. There was a guy that was having a little bit of trouble, and he noticed it, and we were both like, hey, you know, maybe we should call somebody to say, hey, this
right.
dude's struggling. Yeah, Raymond Storm. And, you know, like we traded back and forth, and we were like, this isn't going to end good. You could just see that this dude is struggling. Like, and somebody needs to step in and help these people.
So you didn't like attack him and
before
tell him how
it's-
stupid they were? He
yeah,
actually
no,
tried to be
we were
a
trying
nice
to,
human being.
and he ended up on the news. Not Raymond didn't, but the guy did. They took his guns from him. He was walking down the street all mad, and just stuff
When was
like that.
this?
It was a couple weeks ago.
You didn't even say shit.
Yeah, no, because it's not a matter of like, look at this guy. You
I
know,
know,
like-
but
and
just
that's
as-
what Facebook tends
that's
to do
what it-
is
Yeah.
not.
There needs to
not
be more help.
loving, right?
Yeah.
It is like if you see somebody struggling, like
Yeah.
you see a lot in the some of the groups about. Do you have any tips on medicating? You know, which I think that is absolutely fantastic. There was somebody that had a thread the other day where her child is 10 and they got on Ritalin and this, that, the other, and she's wondering if she could get a card, and I was like, yeah, you know, like it's not my child. So if it was my child, I would do something like that. But
Right.
it's your child. Of course, you know, like Mom always said, when you're old enough, you'll have your own kids, and they'll drive you crazy.
I saw that post, and there were so many parents that were giving their advice on things that work for their children. Then there was that chick that posted, "Your kid don't need THC," and she's like, "How are you gonna tell me my kid don't need THC?" And I'm like, "But you did ask the question on social media, so I mean, you get what you get." You know what I mean?
Well,
But
I mean, we had somebody tell us that, you know, we can't use the word anxiety. It's owned by the FDA. But if we take dog dewormer, it'll cure cancer. So I mean, we get all of it too.
oh, I was gonna
Right,
give
you
a,
can't use cure cancer. That
Yeah,
you,
I mean,
that,
yeah,
the,
yeah,
the
but
FDA be on you like.
Crack me
I
up.
was gonna
like,
give a shout
I
out to
was
this
just like,
lady.
Whoa, okay.
Because she made sure to text me and wanted me to let the community know. This is from Leanne Bryson. She said,
Shout out to Leanne
yeah,
Bryson.
she said, let's see. She wanted everyone to know at the Cannabis Cup that it's illegal for you to purchase any product there, and you shouldn't try any if offered. And
It's always don't take drugs from strangers.
Patients are
are
not aware that they cannot buy these or samples. I am getting tons of questions. I was just passing along to you so you could reaffirm to them, should they choose to attend, because the OBN is going to be on site.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, she just wanted to be basically be aware. I said, well, my response was that, first of all, no one can sell anything to anybody except in a licensed dispensary. So there can't be any purchases being made out at not that event or any event for that matter. And then you're not supposed to just be giving away your medicine either. So, but I was like, everybody knows, should know, but she says they don't. So she wanted to warn everybody for that specific event about the extra officers being out there and stuff. So I told her I'd make sure to share that.
Yeah, High Times themselves, they put out a revision on their rules and regulations, like their kind of guidelines. So they do have a designated patient area where you can consume. There is, there's no sharing in the law. So there's, no sharing, but people will be able to medicate on site.
If they have a card.
If they have, yes, they have to have a card, and I believe there's a specific type of wristband that they're gonna
have everybody have to get them in over there.
With. So you won't even be able to access that area
Without it.
Yes, I mean they're putting some small provisions in play.
Texas has been mad at me on chronic docs. Boy, I tell you, they've been mad at me. They think I was able to just change the laws and everything and get them a temporary.
If you ever been to
card.
a High Times Cannabis Cup and
Like, I
you live
can't
in
get it.
Texas, just come on, man. It is just. I've been to them all, man, and it's
This
just,
is Oklahoma,
it's
Larry.
Yeah, I know.
Although,
That's
the number one state for incarceration, you may or may not want to try it. Just saying.
I would definitely, yeah.
Especially when they're expecting crazies.
Yeah, they're gonna be expecting some crazy.
They're hoping for it. Actually, I would imagine. Just like
they signed on 311 tonight or last night or whatever as another band, which is another.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with them, Miss Chronic?
No, let's
Probably
listen to
not.
them.
We'll get zoinked right away.
Well, you could play a
They'll pull
snippet.
us down there. You go home and listen to the playlist. So there's some good music. Slightly Stupid's always good for a party out there. We're not getting 2 Chainz.
They said they were.
That's for Detroit. Detroit's getting 2 Chainz. Detroit's a little harder than Oklahoma
Detroit
City.
what?
That's it. Detroit hustles harder.
2
And
Chainz
so
went
it's
to jail
a
last
it's
time he
a
was here, I think, didn't he? I think he got in trouble or something. It's tour bus. Something happened crazy.
yeah,
I remember
I
he
did
hit the
hear
news
about
and
that.
everybody, 2 Chainz.
2 Chainz.
He probably said, "Fuck Oklahoma, I ain't coming back there." It's
It's
legal now. We can come.
Well, that's one of the biggest things
It's
when
okay.
you tell people
You're welcome.
from outside the area that, like, yeah, we're raging the cannabis scene in Oklahoma, and they're like, where'd you say? Oklahoma? You meant Ohio, right? No, Oklahoma. You mean Oregon, right? No, Oklahoma. It's like, wow.
We're getting it
It's
in.
But then there's so many, Oklahoma residents that it passed.
I know.
That's legal. Like, you going to jail. Like, what? This is a business license. Like, this comes from the state.
The state
guys.
gave it to
Like,
me.
I'm like, oh man, just be careful. I don't want you to go to jail. And it's just like, what do you mean? We follow the rules. We're careful. What else is there? And it's just like, man, they could change that up any minute. And then they throw all y'all in jail. And I'm just like, calm down.
Nope.
Be calm. Everything's good.
There was, when I first got here, we were calling around for buildings and things like that, and so we found a building, and I told the guy what we wanted to do in there, and he's like, no way, you're going to get in so much trouble and all that. The feds are going to come, and I was like, bro, I just came out of like Las Vegas. The feds ain't in Las Vegas. The feds aren't in Oregon. The feds aren't in California. They ain't coming for us.
They're coming to Oklahoma, though.
So it went by, about 4 months went by, and all of a sudden I get this phone call, and he's like, you still interested in that building? I was like, no way, dude, man, get out of here, man. Get out of here. And he's like, oh, hopefully he didn't rent it or whatever, but
I'm sure he did.
but
It'd
yeah,
go
no,
like
things
hotcakes.
change. That's the and you describe it exactly right. Chili is we'll go through a cycle here. It'll go up. You'll see some of the people come through that aren't from here, and they'll grab a piece of it.
In right now. We
Absolutely.
got Corova, Sublime.
Yeah, right. The Corova line. That's like when I saw them roll in there. I mean, they're. Have you ever been to an Emerald Cup? Did you ever go to the Emerald Cup? And so you see what the face of cannabis is going to be out there and all that. And that was, we talked about the tax situation. The price in California is still mediocre. You're going to get a fair price. And we were standing there, and then the cashier said, well, it's like $40, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I have to charge a tax. And I was like, no, please, here, I'm more than happy to pay this tax, because that's I believe in an excise tax. I believe in value added, that
Right.
like if I want to consume that product, I'm going to pay a little bit extra more on that tax, and and so go ahead and consume it.
But they ain't got to double tax it like the IRS.
It's going to go up and down. It's going to be the same thing, where they can't get it too high, or all of a sudden the equilibrium of the market will switch, and the black market will get more of it
Right.
because of that. And
Then we have another war on drugs, some more crazy nonsense.
the next war on drugs is actually the big corporations going
Right.
after the little guy,
Right,
which is
yeah.
what's happening in California
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Is it's not just coincidental that they're busting these people. It's like the money has said, you got to stop this, because we're not making any money down here. The market is still,
Yeah, it's crazy.
because you can get better product in the black markets now, and still always have been. Except here, the things are changing around in Oklahoma. You don't see it as much because everybody got into the business.
Right.
Which is a beautiful thing that happened.
right.
That they went ahead and there's enough a lot of people are they opened it up. There's too much. But no, it's not. It's let the market dictate where the level is.
And that's what the market will handle all of the business.
Yes, sir.
The people, like, as a consumer, if I'm, I know what my spending habits are. I know what my budgets are. I know what places work for my life, right? Every now and again, I may have a moment or two where I want to, splurge a little bit or whatever. But everybody knows what their area or their role or realm is. And it's like, as long as we as consumers, we stay within our lanes, we're going to buy the products that complement our lives as we see fit. And the more readily available those products are, the better it is for me.
Yep.
But when the big guys come in and they, doing all the commercial grade cannabis, and now they're wholesaling at $1.50, $3 a gram, somewhere along those lines, they're putting the smaller guys out of business. But now you just have a cheaper product, that the price of that cheaper product is going to skyrocket, because now and it's already starting to happen, where smaller dispensaries are falling off, smaller brands are falling off. Nobody was preparing for taxes and things of that. It was just go rush, and they're ready to go, and then they got that tax bill, and they're like, shit.
Same thing that happens to the clubs when they get that liquor tax. They
Right,
shut them
like-
down because they don't pay the
What
tax.
do you do? So, we're on the Green Mile. We call it the Green Mile. Between 104th and 59th, there's like 20 dispensaries, right? But even those guys are starting to close, and other guys will pop up, and then they'll go away, and then other guys will pop up, and then they'll go away. But then there's certain brands, the Fire Leaves and Greens and us and different entities that are, kind of staples in that particular area, and then the rest are interchangeable. It's just like everything else. There was a Boost mobile store or a Cricket mobile store.
What
or
about the
something
free
like
dab
that on
place? I
every-
put that post out there. The guy that's got the whole billboard, free dabs.
Wow.
I went there.
And what was it like?
America West, right? It was called
America's
American
Cannabis.
Cannabis or something.
Yeah.
I like the place.
Western.
I'm just curious. I don't know how they get away with the whole
They just haven't walked in there, I
in
guess.
the store thing.
Yeah.
But it is a nice place. They're really nice people. They got
You,
good
they
selection
said
of
come in, you
product.
don't got to buy nothing.
Yeah,
Just come dab with them.
yeah.
Larry's ready to
Really-
roll.
really
He's getting off
nice-
work
Time
and
they
he's
open
rolling
stuff.
on down there after the grinder.
Got some really nice looking concentrates. I think they probably have the best concentrate selection that I personally seen
Really?
thus far in the
Wow.
state. Yeah,
That says a lot.
yeah.
And that's one of the things that with all the different methods, you don't really see as much concentrates here as of yet versus out west, which
Yeah.
it kind of saved the industry out there for it changed the industry
Yeah,
usually.
definitely.
But it was really just a bailout. It was like, what do we do with all this
Right.
shit? It's like, what do we, oh wow, it makes this great stuff here. It changed the bongs.
Right.
It changed it. everything. It
Everything,
was
yeah.
it was the digital phone from the dial phone, and so that'll eventually come out here. The concentrates are starting to come more and more.
I mean, it's a art, and people are, they right now we're in that miscategorization phase where people are calling waxes shatter, and they're
Right.
calling snap and pull this, and so people don't know the consistencies and why this is better than this, and people think shatter is just the end all be all, and I personally don't like shatter.
Right.
I like terps,
Yeah.
and with that shatter to get to that consistency, there's gonna be burn off, and people don't get that because there's that lack of education with
Look how
cannabis
clear it is.
terps.
There's no flavor in there.
Right,
That's why
yeah,
it's so
yeah,
clear.
Exactly,
That's the-
right.
Yeah, we're shatter don't matter, wax to the max.
Yeah.
Is the way
Get it in.
we go. I even if we get shatter, I like to nucleate a little bit and open back up and kind of come back to the.
Yeah.
That sounded nasty.
Yeah, well, it's science, really.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
comes down to. And with YouTube out there, anybody watching that doesn't understand what we're talking about, get in there, get yourself educated, and the educated
Or continue to watch the grinder.
consumer is the best consumer.
Right.
When you can tell the difference between products out there, that's when you're really going to get the best. That's when you're going to get the most value for your money, rather than jumping around. I'll try that this week, and I'll try this week, and it's like, don't waste your money.
I tell people you got three types of players. You got the person that's gonna take the game, throw it in, and just play, and they just gonna try whatever it is until they get tired and move on to something else. You got the person that's gonna look through the little tutorial, and then he gonna play the game. Then you got the person that's gonna get the study guide. We all have one of those friends that is that weed nerd that's like, nah, man, this is why this, and this is that, and this is why this. And 5 years ago, we just looked at them like, all right, bro. But now people are paying these people for this information because they've taken that time to do the YouTubes and pick up this book and learn about this and do an apprenticeship over here. And now people are making a business out of this from being the type of player that would utilize a study guide. So,
Right.
We need more of those.
yeah, definitely.
That's it. So there you go, everybody. Go check out Chili Mack stuff over there on the onlymrmax.com. You can check them out over there on all social media. If you just go at onlymax, you'll be able to find their stuff out there, which is a pretty good move out there. You probably kind of maybe avoided. You didn't call it weed food or something like that
No.
on that. So
A lot went into the branding, man. People
Yeah.
have no idea. We wanted it to be clean as far as logo was concerned and name and all of that stuff. So we thought Apple Store when it came to the visual imagery. When I think of Apple, I think of good products, great customer service, and reliability. So we wanted to, kind of reflect that or those values in our brand as well, and just something that can be universal. Pot leaves are, extremely cliche. We did utilize that on the Pop Pops bag, but that's kind of a play off of the actual name of the product versus a play on the industry of the product. But everything else is, pretty much, in line.
right. We don't smoke those leaves anyway, so it's always kind of
No.
funny. Why
But
do we
you can-
use that
yeah,
leaf?
You can juice them
Yeah.
though.
You can juice them, yeah. That don't get you high.
Fresh
That's
cannabis
the-
juicing.
And there, so shout out to who's this on the oven?
That is Corian. She handles brownies, but she's mainly known for the cinnamon rolls. That's her.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's her thing right there.
she's a good.
There you go, such a pretty smile.
Yes,
And why
always
shouldn't you
happy,
be?
great
That's it.
personality.
You're cooking good stuff.
Yeah, it's a great personality. It's they work in a fishbowl. essentially. So
Right.
when people come in, they're like, that's who they see. And
What
who
is
they see.
that?
So that is a cinnamon streusel cupcake alongside of a 35 milligram caramel, I believe.
What time do we got to get down there to be able to get the stuff when it's
Hot.
fresh coming out of there?
So it depends on what day it is.
Okay.
'Cause I make certain things on certain days. So like tomorrow's cheesecake day, right? So I'll be there.
Ooh.
Yep, plain cherry and turtle. And you guys already know they don't last long. So
Do you infuse the whole cheesecake or just the sauce that goes on the top?
see, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't believe in coating. I know people, they'll go out and buy store-bought candy and spray something on it and coat it, and you put it in a package, and half of the medicine is on the package, and so you literally got to lick the plastic and get medicated. I don't believe in that. I believe in true infusions. So like with
Mixing
the
it all the
cinnamon
way
roll,
up.
the medicine is in the actual bread itself. It's not in the frosting or anything like that. So you don't, it's in the actual product, and not, some
Fully
garbage.
homogenized.
Yes,
That you
yes.
don't. There is no separation.
Correct.
It's all landed in your belly at the same time.
Yes.
That's the and that just absolutely looks delicious right there. And we got the.
Stuff I dropped off for a cannabis cup today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Gotta get her done.
I want buns of steel.
I want buns of steel, but I can't stop eating buns of cinnamon. That's funny. And so here's another one that you have the teamwork set up on.
Yes.
Canawise and Mr. Max.
Uh-huh.
And so is that but that's not your brand of concentrates, right?
Canawise, no. So Canawise, they purchase product from us. We actually purchase extract products from them as well. And what they're doing is a vendor day down in Duncan. So we've been doing a lot of vendor days, getting our sales team and just different members of our crew, chefs, different stuff like that into the different stores, and just meeting with the patients and meeting with the business owners, and trying to just build better relationships with different businesses and the patients throughout the communities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a damn good deal on fresh baked blueberry streusel cinnamon muff.
Yeah, at 50 milligrams each, all of our fresh bakes are 50 milligrams unless otherwise noted. Every now and again, we may do like, 100 milligram brownie or, something like that. But, even on the day-old products, $6.
Shit, I'm getting the
50
day old. That's just
milligrams.
$6. I can get that right around the corner at the regular shop for
Yeah,
that.
but that it's rare to get a
That
day
it makes
old.
it that day old.
Yeah, we just keep increasing production and increasing production and increasing production, and they just go. We weren't doing fresh baked Sundays. Sunday was like all cooked day off, and so I was like, well, I'll do cheesecake on Sunday, right? And
Now you're gonna be doing something else soon.
we're open 4 hours, and we were literally, and I doubled production that day, and they were with
Still
the
going.
proper, marketing and, letting people know the day before what it was going to be. Like, people literally were waiting on it.
It's the little things.
Yeah, it's the little things,
Yep.
the details.
Mhm.
Yep.
And that's where I see a lot of some of the dispensaries are getting frustrated. So I'm not getting any customers, but they're really not putting the thought into
Yeah.
the little things that you have to do in business, period, to market your brand, to get it out there and stuff like that. And that's what it's all about. You can have the best thing in the world, the best product in the world, but if people don't know about it, they won't know to come.
Right.
And
And
so-
it's like, I'm going to give a shout out to Rick Martinez. He is one of my indirect mentors. If you guys are on Instagram, he goes by Planet Boy. But he is a cannabis entrepreneur, and I was, brainstorming with him one day, and he was just like, I was telling him about everything that we've done thus far, but we were still in that, we're talking like 2 years ago. And he's like, but what makes you different? Anybody can make a product. What makes you different? And it was the line of questions that he asked that gave me a different perspective. And so I'm like, he's right. What makes us different? And it's the little things. It's
Yep.
all of the details, from the packaging to
Yep.
the branding to the theme of the dispensary, the transparency, the fact that we only use premium ingredients, everything is all natural. You know, like those are collectively, those are the things that gives us, you know, different layers or levels of separation when it comes to, you know, competitors or, and to be totally honest, I don't look at any other brand as a competitor because most of them aren't vertically integrated. They're not growing their own product, they're not processing their own product, and then they're not distributing their own product. So I don't truly look at them as competitors. Even the national brands, you know, like Smokies and, you know, Corova and Sublime, it's like they have brand asset licensing agreements with different farms to create a certain product under their banner, and then a kickback goes back to that company. We're born and bred. Like, this started here. The first caramel that was ever sold, the first product that was ever sold from this company was sold at Strange Leaf in Oklahoma City. So we didn't come with a history of success from another state. We didn't come with a history or, you know, competitive, you know, being in different competitions and things like that. Like, we started day one. Right. So to be seen at a level as these other national brands right now,
it's a good
we're
feeling.
only like 8-9 months in, like, that's just like, it's like supercharged every single day. You know, so when people are like, oh yeah, but Sublime is better and Corova's this and blah 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 blah, me and my partner just look at each other and be like, boom, we did exactly what we wanted to do. Be in that conversation. But to be in that conversation, you got to separate. You can't be a part of the masses. You don't a horse race, horses is running. You don't see what's going on. You just see a bunch of jockeys and a bunch of horses. But when they get to that last turn, what happened?
Take off.
They start to separate. And then it becomes clear who the winners are.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of where we're at and want to be. So.
That's
Do
it.
you want to be at the front of the race or in the back of the
No
race?
participation trophies over here. Sorry. Sorry.
That's it. So everybody definitely go check out Mr. Mack's stuff over there at your local
And go
favorite
see him out
dispensary. There you go.
At the High Times.
Go see him at
Y'all
the
can
High
meet him.
Times.
Yes.
You probably
Got
even
a
go out
booth.
to the backpack stuff too, right?
Yes.
You'll be out there also.
August 18th.
August-
It starts at noon. So we'll have a large presence there. You can catch us at the Cannabis Cup. If you guys are north, say in Tulsa, we're doing Green Grow Expo Tulsa, September 24th and 25th, I believe it is. And I mean, just, you know, stay tuned for the next 3 weeks. Is just gonna be mind blowing. A lot of you guys have asked for
going on.
products. We listen to you guys. So when we say, you know, promises made, promises kept, we're doing that. You know, we talked about high dose, we've done that. We talked about low dose, we've done that. We talked about new products, we talked about sugar free. All of these things are coming for you guys. So we appreciate you guys so much, and I appreciate you.
That's
guys.
it. We appreciate
Yeah,
you,
thanks for
Chili
coming
Mack, man.
on.
Thank you so much for being our awesome guest tonight, and definitely go check out everybody.
Put up our
in
emblem
there.
behind us. Our new organization.
Jeez, you got me on all this stuff.
Oh,
here.
hell, Larry.
Mr. Busy Man.
He always gets windows. You're right there.
Oh, here we go.
Just get it right there. There we go.
There we go. So any shout outs, Chili Mack, on the way out of here?
So shout outs to all of the soldiers that people don't even know are soldiers. Norma, Chickaline, Javier, Julio, Alex, Adrian, Marissa, Heather, Amanda, JB, Julian, Raul, Mika, Kevin, Eric, Erica, Monica, Arturo, and anybody that I forgot. I love you guys. I'm sorry, but that was all that was in my brain.
There you go. Miss Chronic?
Shout out to our Tulsa grinder that's going to start next Tuesday. Talisha. She's
that's my
Real
buddy.
Talk.
I like her.
Real Talk
She's
with
great.
reality.
I like her. I
She's
like
gonna
her.
she's gonna start on Tuesday nights and Real Talk with reality, and she's gonna give us a Tulsa flavor.
Nice,
So we're
nice.
excited. She's gonna start that next week. She's got a full blown studio put together there in Tulsa. So
I think that's good. I mean, you know, she's a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she definitely has a story that.
and you need to
you know,
Google
people need to
reality
hear.
too. She had talk shows.
Yeah.
We pulled some up. She was good. That Stop the Violence movement she was doing down in Tulsa. Yeah, so she's back in her element.
Her aura of life just emanates out of
Yes.
her and
Yes.
smears all over everybody
Definitely
else that
does.
goes near her, and it's just a freaking awesome thing. And cannabis has saved her life,
Yeah.
and probably most of ours anyway. Anybody else there, Miss Chronic? You got?
Like, let's see, my son started school today, McLeod. He's out, well, not for like kindergarten or anything. I mean, he's 9 years old. So shout out to Gabriel. He started school today. He hated every second of it.
He should be in bed
Yeah, he's
sleeping.
probably already asleep by now. I think my daughter, she starts next week. She lucked out. She didn't have to start back as soon.
Nice.
So
There you go.
everybody's finishing up, going to get their haircuts done over here.
That's it. Everybody
At
be careful
Thundercats.
out there. Be careful out there because you got kids running around there in between the cars and all that, running for the buses and
Being late
all
for
that
school.
kind of stuff. Yeah, and all
Getting
that
back
kind
on
of
the
stuff.
on the grind of the school days.
Yes.
Yep. So
Careful in them school zones.
CD on the ones and twos as always,
Yeah.
just rocking it over there. Special shout out to this episode dedicated to Miss Kitty.
Oh, Miss Kitty.
Yeah, Miss Kitty passed away after about 18 years.
Oh.
And I never really was a cat person. And then if you ever end up in the tank at the end of a long night and you're sitting there on the bench and just wondering, and then all of a sudden you look over and there's somebody sitting there on the other side, and you're just kind of like, well,
it's Miss
it's kind of the personal savior of the night, and you get into some deep conversations and all that kind of stuff. And that's how I ended up there with Miss Kitty. We ended up in a warehouse, and I just looked over, and she was just sitting there going like, like, what are you looking at? I've been sitting here for 18 years. Or, you know, you got it so bad for her. But she was a good little kitty cat, and she was with our family for a long time. So this episode's for you, Miss Kitty, right there. We love you. And shout out to my mom and dad who made this all possible. Larry Reed, the man on weed for the August, what day is it again? The August 7th?
7?
There you go.
7. Yep.
8/7/2019 edition of The Grinder. Thanks everybody for staying, for watching us. Chili Mack, thank you so much for being with us again.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot.
Thank you.
Stay tuned tomorrow. We got some more good stuff coming for you. So for me, Kerry Chronic, Mr. Chili Mack, CD on the ones and twos. Have a good night. Peace.
Good night.